Wow, so much went down in 2005 and 2006. Like how YouTube was created, and then the next year it was bought by Google.
Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Or how one of the most loved movie franchises had its last hated movie.
Only a Sith deals in absolute liar!
But out of those 2 years, we got 3 consoles that had some of the best games of all time. And even though all 3 of them are amazing consoles, they did have their little flaws here and there, but overall they all did great. Also, it's pretty insane that I have to say this in 2017, but because I'm comparing these consoles, and you may not like 2 of them or 1 of them, when I say something good or bad about one of the consoles, you should not get triggered because I'm trying to make everyone watching this video happy, which by the way is basically impossible. But for this video, I do have a lot of good things to say about these consoles, and some bad things. There's only actually like 1 issue that I have with each of them, and I have tons of great things to say about them in total. So yeah, let's get to the sales. So our tiny little buddy, the Wii, has sold 101 million units, while the PS3 has sold 84 million units, and the Xbox 360 has also sold 84 million units. This is pretty shocking because this means that this is like the most sold console war of all time. Everyone seems to have had a good sale. Of course, as we know now, that's totally different. So let's go to category 1. At first, the PS3's marketing was a little bit odd. Just in case you haven't seen the baby commercial yet, here it is. Now before I show you how this marketing has changed, there actually is meaning behind the commercial. It's trying to show a wide array of emotions that the PS3 can make. Because as you saw, it was laughing and crying. Some people think that's just how you perceive the commercial. Sort of like those cliches where a psychologist will show you a blob image and say, what do you see in this image? But Sony was like, alright, let's change this. And they added one of the most loved characters in commercial history, Kevin Butler.
Dear PlayStation, I got a tip that you were making the PS3 $299. Confirm or deny?
$2.99? Bernie, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. That's how World War I got started. While $2.99 for the sweetest gaming, Blu-ray playing, movie downloading system in the world would be fantastic. No comment.
But all that stuff says $299. Right behind you.
I'm sorry, you said something?
PS3, now $299.
So for the 360, I only found a few. I found this one. I found one for the Kinect. There was nothing that was memorable, really. Maybe that's why there barely are commercials that you can find on YouTube with Xbox 360, because they aren't as memorable as the ones that the Wii and the PS3 had. It seems like Microsoft started to really market the Xbox when the Kinect came out, which is a little bit odd. Of course they were at E3 and all of those events, but how come there was no memorable commercial that you would see where it's catchy or it's funny, besides that shooting one? But that was like basically it. But for the Wii, this was a commercial that I remember perfectly.
We would like to play. We would like to play. We would like to play.
Because for the most part the PS3 and Xbox 360 had the same games, I'm just gonna like combine them into this category. But hey, Little Big Planet and Halo, those are two great exclusives. Some of my personal favorite games on these consoles has to be Fallout 3 and New Vegas, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3, 2K13, GTA 4 and 5, Minecraft, Portal 1 and 2, and also the Orange Box, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I'm aware that that's like one of the most hated games on the Xbox 360, but why not? And for the Wii, things get a little bit more interesting, because ever since the GameCube, it seems like Satoru Iwata wanted to take Nintendo into a whole new type of way of gaming. He wanted to make Nintendo more unique, and because of this, there were not as many third-party games as expected. And I know that a lot of people are gonna like shoot comments that are like, yes there were. Well then where's GTA 4 and 5? And where's Fallout then? And where's some other good examples? I know that Call of Duty is on the Wii, but that's not really like a good example of like a ton of third-party games on the Wii. But I do have some amazing favorites, like Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Raving Rabbids, Wii Sports, Wii Play, and Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. The PS3 has a pretty simple interface. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It looks seamless and everything seems easily accessible. It truly does look like an OS that's ahead of its time. And of course, what made the PS3 great later on was that it had PSN, and everyone loves PSN because it's free. The 360 has a more organized interface, and for the most part, people always liked Xbox Live. Back in the day, it was always considered that Xbox Live was more reliable and faster and more secure than PSN. The only issue is that you would have to pay money, so this really was a fight between if you want something free that won't always break, but might, or something that's less likely to break but will cost you a couple bucks. The Wii's menu is also simple. It was formatted to look like a TV interface, which I thought was pretty clever, which sort of makes sense because of the Wiimote and how it looks. And it's pretty genius how it was made to just point at something and then just open it. Of course, online on the Wii is a little bit odd. It's also free, and it's not available anymore, but it was interesting, I guess. Everyone all around me always says that the PS3 is such a great console, but what if I told you that if you liked the PS3 back in 2006, I guess you could say it's similar to saying that you like the Nintendo Switch inside of a PlayStation 4 Facebook group. Yeah, just imagine how that's going to turn out. In other words, the PS3 was, for the most part, really hated and people were really pissed at it. It was hated so much that someone made a song back in 2006 on YouTube that's a parody of the song How to Save a Life. So what was wrong with the PS3? Well, one of the major issues was the price. Similar to what happened with the Xbox One at the beginning of its time, the PS3 was priced way too high. It totally got rid of that $299 thing that we heard with the PS1, because now it was $499, and if you wanted a better version of the PS3, that was going to be $599. So automatically this turned off most gamers, as they jumped over to the 360 or to the Wii. Some people didn't care about the Blu-ray feature that the PS3 had, so that also sort of hurt it because that was something Sony was trying to promote. Sort of like how Xbox tried to promote the Kinect with the Xbox One, like, hey, we're unique because we have this. and that didn't really work out. People were like, just give me the Xbox alone. And also there were some situations with the PSN network. Like it was said in the song, you had to go through like a bunch of hoops to play online. And then PSN in 2011 was hacked, and it was one of the biggest hackings in history, with over 70 million players' information compromised. Now thankfully, ever since then, the PS3 has become a great console that we all love. Even though Sony did redeem all the issues that they had, they actually lost like a couple $1 billion. But I'm pretty sure they got that money back, if you know what I'm saying. Microsoft, where do I start? How about we start with the most popular problem with the 360? It's something any 2000s kid has heard of. The Red Ring of Death. Now, for anyone who owns like an Xbox 360 Slim or any of the later models of the 360, you'll never experience this problem, but most white Xboxes got this Red Ring of Death. Now, for some very, very weird reason, mine's never got that. As you can see, I have the white one, and I had this thing on even when I didn't even use it because I was a stupid 7-year-old. So I have no idea how this survived. Another issue with the first gen 360 is that it didn't have Wi-Fi, and this sort of makes it really, really bad because the Wii had Wi-Fi and so did the PS3. So this sort of made the 360 look really bad. And of course you wanted that Wi-Fi, so you had to get an adapter. And on top of that, you have to pay for online. And look, I'm trying to talk about this in the past. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, you have to pay online for all 3 consoles. But back then, having online was sort of like having the internet. It was free, and now you have to pay extra for their service. So at the time, people were pretty pissed. That's why there was sort of an internal fight between gamers, like, should I get it like with Wi-Fi or without Wi-Fi? Should I get the PS3 or the 360 or the Wii? Because there was a lot of like good and bad and just all sorts of points that made one console look good, one console look bad. It sort of is like politics when we choose a new president. There's like good, bad, and like it's a really tough decision. And now to the Wii. So the Wii, as we know, is the winner, technically, for sales in the console war. But here's where it failed. Now, I'm someone who doesn't really care about graphics. I care that the game is fun instead of graphics, but things that people didn't really like is that the graphics on the Wii did not look good. There were fun games, just to reassure, there were fun games, but the graphics were not really up to date, let's say. And one issue that I've had ever since I got a Wii, almost 10 years ago, was that there's no non-rechargeable remotes that come with the console. This is of course where the PS3 and 360 shine the most. Of course there was the option to buy rechargeable batteries, but that's not really fun. There was also a sort of lack of third-party games. It's not as serious as the Wii U, but like I said at the beginning of the video, there were some games that were just missing. I don't think that this is a fail for Nintendo on third-party games for the Wii, because most people were sort of looking at the Wii to just try and play Nintendo games. Like Wii Sports was, like I said billions of times, the highlight. Every single person watching this video has truly had a great experience with any of these consoles. Whether it's one of them, 2 of them, or all 3 of them, they've all played a key role. Unless you're a PC gamer that's just watching this video because, I don't really know. But whatever some people may think, whether they think it's the worst console war or the best console war, I have to say, I think this is one of my favorites because I think that all 3 consoles are actually pretty good. Especially the lineup of games for all 3. These are all games that I could go back to and play, which makes them classics. And the games that I listed in the game category, that's not all of my favorites, because if I did that, that would probably be like 50% of the video, because there really are a lot of amazing games on all 3 of these consoles. It's pretty sad to see them all go one by one, and now we're stuck with the PS3 as the survivor, and soon that's gonna die. But hey, we have all 3 of these new consoles to see. Or technically 5. Or technically in the future 6. But some people say that the console wars are coming to an end. Who knows? Actually, we do know, because we decide if consoles continue to strive or not. And as always, thanks for watching. You stole Vsauce's outro!